Welcome back, humor consumers, to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm comedian Tracy DeGraff.
And I'm Cathrine, co-host and bestie.
Wow. Welcome.
Do-do-do.
Welcome to the Pod Lab, Cathrine.
Yeah, thank you.
It's exciting.
I'm glad to be here
Yeah, me too.
with my warm drink
Right. We're drinking out of these adorable little bee mugs.
with wings, bees with wings.
Cathrine thought that the wings on the back was a bow. She thought that there was a bee with a bow, but they have wings, Cathrine.
Yeah. Oh,
So
they're so cute.
They are so cute.
Mhm.
They're little matching mugs that I picked up at Goodwill, and we are drinking our pumpkin spice coffee out of it as we record this podcast. That is the topic of the day: pumpkin spice.
A whole episode.
A whole episode on pumpkin spice and why we're crazy for it.
Yeah. And why the whole, not just us, the entire U.S. I read a English perspective on it about the Americans being obsessed with it. It was pretty funny.
Well, what in a nutshell, what did they think? Like we're typical Americans?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, like what's basically they're like, they're all falling for the marketing and they're persuaded to believe that they need it and love it.
They're just jealous. They're probably over there going, well, they threw all the tea into the ocean. What do you expect? They might as well go for the pumpkin spice.
Maybe.
Whatever. Cathrine has a whole English side of her. Her mother's from England, so she has experienced that culture a whole bunch. All right. Well, this is episode number 44.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Remember when we were just doing like episode 1?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that was a long while
We
ago.
were super giddy at the time.
That hasn't changed. I don't think.
I think it's toned down a little bit.
Okay. If you're new to our podcast, you have 43 other episodes that you can binge on after you're finished listening to this one. And we would encourage you to do that. We've got some really fun episodes on our channel. Do they call it a channel?
Yeah.
Okay, on our channel.
Our platform.
Our pod thing.
Right.
Whatever it is. And I just re-listened to the football one. Friends, if you have not listened to that football one, I hope it's not just me that thinks it's hilarious.
It definitely tickled your fancy.
It did. I've listened to it now twice. Ooh, Cathrine just burped.
Oh.
Sorry.
I was trying to keep it under hat.
Oh well.
Nobody would have known, but now they
do.
do.
They don't care.
Anyway, speaking of our other episodes that we have under our belt, we have to do a follow-up.
I know.
Like a whole entire episode on our follow-ups.
Right, because we say, we're going to get to that, and then it's just sitting there.
Yeah.
Like our 100-day challenge that lasted like 2 hours.
That, and our home security one where we said, we're going to see how long it takes to ransack each other's homes.
Oh, I don't recall the ransacking
Yeah,
part.
it was on...
Not ransack. We're not going to ransack. We're just going to look for goodies.
It's ransacking.
No, I don't want my home ransacked.
Well,
I'm going to call the cops. Hello, police. There's a woman in my house ransacking.
I know her, but...
I gave her kind of permission. Anyway, if you're new to our podcast, what we do is we bring a topic every week to the table here, and we discuss it. We try to bring information in an entertaining way. And then we end the podcast with some spiritual encouragement.
Yeah.
That's our formula. I'm sticking to it.
I was just going to say that.
All right. So up today is pumpkin spice. We've got a few takeaways. Here's one. What started the pumpkin spice craze?
Yeah.
How did that whole thing start? Number 2. What's in pumpkin spice?
Yeah.
Anyway, what's the big deal?
Right.
And then number 3, we're going to share a DIY recipe for your own pumpkin spice. You can make your own. And I did it. I made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
It's
It's not hard either.
No, because I don't do too many things that are hard like that.
you
Not in the
don't.
kitchen. Maybe out on stage.
Yeah, that's true. That is extremely
Comedy.
hard. Yeah.
All right, so let's get started with what started the craze, Catherine. What started the pumpkin spice craze?
Well, actually, it's been around since 1934. The spice was created by McCormick and Company to help home bakers make more flavorful pumpkin pies.
Mm-hmm.
So started way back then. But what really made it popular now, like, you know, where you feel you have to have it,
Yes.
it's related to fall, is Starbucks.
Yeah.
They were like the catalyst for the whole spice thing and for it skyrocketing the supply and demand thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, leave it to Starbucks to create a craze.
Well, yeah, they're definitely leaders in the industry of what you got to have.
Yeah, and pay for it.
A ton of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an example of, okay, when Starbucks first came out, this is just a side note, I remember thinking there is no way they're going to survive because they're way too expensive.
Oh, is that what you thought?
Well, yeah, because I was thinking to my little self, people are paying $5 and $6 for 1 cup of coffee, and they go every day.
Yeah, but they're buying the experience.
I learned that.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that. And having their name written on a cup for $5 or $6.
Plus, didn't they? I feel like they became pretty popular around the time of the early 90s. Maybe it was before that, but it felt like when I really started noticing they were popping up everywhere, when Friends, the sitcom, the show Friends, they would hang around in a coffee shop all the time. So what's not to love?
Yeah.
A place where you can drink coffee and hang out.
Yeah.
It's not a bar, especially for people who don't go to bars.
True. So now we have Starbucks obviously on every corner.
Mm-hmm.
We really do.
Yeah.
And so the pumpkin spice came along. Another thing that came out around the time that they introduced the pumpkin spice latte was social media.
Yeah.
So social media was not a thing 30 years ago, when it was just poor old McCormick with the spice. Because just imagine how the McCormicks feel. They've been at this pumpkin spice thing for decades, since the 30s.
We thought we had this marketing thing down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are, I'm sure, kicking themselves going, if only we had put it in the coffee. Whose head's going to roll now because we didn't put it in the coffee?
Well, McCormick, I don't think they're in the business of coffee.
They're not in the business of coffee, but what if they had thought of it?
Right, to push it.
Yeah.
Maybe they're behind it.
You never know. These
to
people
dig deeper in the research.
follow the money.
In the meantime, sip. I'm going to have... talking about all of this, making me want to have a sip.
So the fact that Starbucks coffee became like their own little cult, when they did, and the fact that we have social media introduced around the same time, but now there's a third element to this little recipe for success that it's my own opinion. Happens to be right. And I'm pretty sure you could back it up, like other people I'm sure think this, but it's the third thing about pumpkin spice is the scarcity of it.
Well, of course, because almost everything you buy in the fall, which actually starts the end of August for marketing purposes, says limited edition.
Right.
So it does put in that panicky fear, like, they're going to run out. I must get it now.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you remember back in the day when they had like the hot toy of the season.
Oh,
remember when our kids were little? Do you remember Tickle Me Elmo?
I do.
Oh, that doll or whatever it was, furry thing.
You could call it a doll.
Yeah. Everybody wanted it, and it was the scarcity of the fact that there weren't enough. And I've never really quite wrapped my head around it. Like even the toilet paper thing now with the pandemic.
Yeah. That's
because we had toilet paper pandemic 1, and now they're saying we're going to have toilet paper pandemic 2.
Yeah.
And it's the fact that you if you think you're not going to be able to get something that you want, it makes you want it that much more.
Well, on that note, I've been looking at furniture, and every furniture place that I call, they're all saying, there's a shortage. We can't get the foam to stuff the cushions. And so then I'm panicking, like, I better order now. It's making me feel like they're going to.
We have had that all pandemic long.
I think it's now they're all
blaming everything on the pandemic.
That, and now they're using it to their advantage. Like, you better order now. You're not going to have a cushion. But yeah, gosh. The Beanie Babies back in the day, the shortage, the rarity.
Limited edition. Yes. You're going to be the only one with the Beanie Baby with the tag still on. The kids can't play with the Beanie Babies. Right. You have to put them in the closet.
Put them on those little oak shelves or pine shelves on your wall. Oh. You'd have grown adults in their living room these shelves with Beanie Babies. Did you do that?
No. When the Beanie Babies were popular, I was losing my mind. That was at the time when I had all those kids, young ages, and no, I couldn't handle one more thing.
Well, I got into it. Yeah. I went out of state to get certain ones, and I thought the places like where my cousin Christy lives, surely they're not looking for it. They're in the country.
Was that when McDonald's had the Beanie Babies in the Happy Meal?
The teeny Beanie Babies. I had to have those.
Oh, human beings.
You know how many Happy
crazy.
Meals I bought?
A lot.
Yeah.
Didn't you did tell me that you also got a Princess Diana Beanie
I got
Baby?
That one was a gift from our friends overseas.
Was she still around then? Like, she was alive when this Beanie Baby came out, or had she died?
She had to have passed away by then, I believe. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
See, that makes it even more rare.
Right.
So what we're getting at with this scarcity issue and just kind of discussing these things, human beings are crazy. We're nuts. And, you could live your whole life without a Beanie Baby or a Tickle Me Elmo or a cup of pumpkin spice latte. Mm-hmm. But when somebody puts it in your head that you might not get it, everybody else wants it.
So the Brits were right.
The what?
The Brits.
The Brits?
My voice is cracking.
The Brits?
Yeah, the Brits.
Right about what?
Well, in the beginning of our episode here, I said that they look at us like, oh, yeah, they're just being told that they want it and they love it. And that's true.
Like I said, they're just jealous. They're jealous that they're Brits. I'm just teasing.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Well, scarcity. Mm-hmm. So get your pumpkin spice. Get it?
Or make it.
While you can.
That's going to be our call to action.
Yeah, but before we go to that, I just want to ask you, what is the weirdest thing that you think they try to put the pumpkin flavor in, the pumpkin spice flavor?
Dog food.
No, there's not a pumpkin spice dog food. No.
Yes. And guess what?
Now
that we're on the subject. No.
Well, where'd you hear about the pumpkin spice dog food? In the research for today?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down to it because you're not going to believe it.
No.
Okay, so first of all, one of the strangest, unexpected, nonsensical food item that the spice was put into was Hormel's limited edition pumpkin spice flavored Spam. And it's sold out at Walmart and Spam's website. But whoever goes to Spam's website...
Spam is...
I'm out of Spam.
It's canned, meat, right? Like processed canned
It's
meat.
highly processed, pressed together. I don't know what's in it.
Got
water,
some kind of gel
sodium.
On it. Let's throw some pumpkin spice on top of that.
Yeah. Anyway, they sold out in 7 hours.
Wow.
Who'da thunk? But it says here that the Nielsen data, so that's the survey that's legit, shows that dog food was the second highest selling food or beverage category for pumpkin flavored products during the year that ended 2018. Anyway, it says beating out the liquid creamer, ready to drink coffee, and ice cream categories.
I don't even believe it.
I don't either.
But Nielsen said it.
Yeah.
So that just goes to show you that people really are nuts. We're nuts.
Cuckoo.
The dog didn't wake up one day and go, roof, roof, I want some pumpkin spice. I refuse to let you pet me until you get me the pumpkin
why don't they just sell fat from bacon or meat? Well, they do, but...
Dogs love that. They love bacon.
My dog, my sister's dog, and my mom's dog, they all just get anything out of the garbage. If you put a garbage bag down, they're in it. They do not care
Right.
about pumpkin spice.
Right. But it's the number one seller.
That's what it says.
Wow.
Which goes back to what you said earlier, that we're nuts.
Yes,
Human
we
beings
are.
are nuts.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you
Wow.
want to know the 10 most pumpkin spice obsessed states?
Okay, let me guess. Okay, I'm just going to guess Illinois, California, New York.
New York, no. California, no.
No. Okay,
No.
well, what are they?
West Virginia, New Hampshire, Vermont, Nebraska, Montana, Washington, Maine, Delaware, Oregon, and Wisconsin. They're all the cold states. They're all up cold. They're up.
Do you know what I thought you said?
What?
I thought you said occult.
Oh,
I'm like, wait a minute. Now what's the podcast about?
no.
They're cold states, and so they need something to keep them warm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's another one of my theories on pumpkin spice, which is not proven.
What's that?
It is truly a theory. I believe, okay, so not only the scarcity, not only Starbucks and their way to somehow turn us all into believers, and not only the, what was the other thing? It was Starbucks, social media, and scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has to do with the nose. It's a smell.
You've been doing a lot of thinking.
I have.
Over there.
Well, we were supposed to record this a couple days ago, and
So
then
you've been.
and then we had to put it off for a few days. So I'm like, oh, now I really got to marinate in it. But think about it. Your sense of smell is your most heightened sense to kind of like remember things.
Yeah.
So if you have grown up in a house where cinnamon rolls were baked fresh every day, like on the farm or something like that,
Yeah.
you're going to remember that feeling of nostalgia with the sense of smell.
Absolutely.
It's the strongest one. And I mean, I do remember that from doing some research for writing and for my book, just trying to bring the audience in somehow with aromas. And if the scene allows it, obviously you can't just throw it in there. AKA pumpkin spice.
Yeah.
There was a murder and then it smelled like pumpkin spice.
Oh gosh, I hope not.
No, but because our sense of smell, which I'm sorry for anybody with COVID who doesn't smell. I really feel sad for
or
them.
taste.
I know. Anyway, well, if you can smell, I think that's one of the reasons why we really love the sense of pumpkin spice.
Well, that's definitely, like you said, one of the elements. But I do think that the biggest thing that, catapulted it into our society is the marketing.
Yeah, it's commercial. Mm-hmm. You go into the grocery store and you look for all the stuff that's pumpkin spice. Mm-hmm. I watched one news clip that was on YouTube, and it was a reporter who was going into a local Kroger somewhere in the country. They put all of their pumpkin spice stuff in one section. Mm-hmm. They had like 200 items.
Oh my gosh.
That were pumpkin spice.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I know that when I take a whiff of it, I immediately think, ooh, fall and that cozy, like I think of woolly blankets and haystacks and all the, those old vintage trucks and all of that stuff that makes you feel like you need to be next to a fireplace and cozy, or a fire pit.
Oh, gosh, listen to you.
Cozy up. Mm-hmm.
And I'm smelling mine now, my coffee with the pumpkin spice, the DIY thing that we're going to share in a minute, by the way. So stay tuned. Don't hang up on us yet. It really does smell good.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's comforting.
And the thing I love about making your own pumpkin spice is that there's no sugar in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I personally don't like sweet coffee. I don't like anything sweet like in my tea, or I don't like sweet drinks. I like it no sugar.
Really?
Yeah, I don't drink any pop.
No, I know you don't.
What would I drink that's sweet? Catherine. She made me give up drinking Diet Coke years ago because there's so many chemicals in it. So I don't like sugar in my coffee. I don't like sugar in my tea. What else is there?
Don't make me say it.
Say it.
No.
Hot coffee? No, hot cocoa? I do like that.
Yeah, you do.
I love hot cocoa.
Yeah. Chocolate, what's it called? Chocolate. Claudia made it for us.
Oh, the martini.
Yes, that's sweet.
That's different. It cancels out if you put that in there. That was dessert. It's just like liquid dessert.
You have an answer.
Yes, I do. Plus, it was my mother-in-law was making these beverages for us. We were guests in her home. It would have been rude to say no, thank you. We had to say yes.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Pure pressure. Mm-hmm. It really was like drinking a candy bar.
It's sweet.
It's delicious.
Yes.
Okay, so let me say this. I don't like sweet stuff in my coffee.
No, you don't.
No. Mm-hmm. I think it ruins it. It takes away for me.
I'm so surprised because like you do like sweets.
Love sweets.
You like candy.
Love it.
I don't really like candy. I could turn away from sweets most of the time, but I do like my coffee to have a little bit of sugar. Not a lot, but a little bit of sugar. No, really, just like a little teaspoon or less. What are you about?
Because when we go get drive-through coffee and you have to take a sip of it before we can drive away.
Yes.
Just in case you need like 2 more granules of sugar to be put in there.
Well, I just need it to be just so.
Right. Exactly.
But not too sweet.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, let's move on.
We're like having a little
argument.
I was trying to find a better word than that.
Oh, that's funny.
A little quarrel.
That's so funny. All right, we're going to go on with the pumpkin spice recipe. And I will link this in the show notes. It's the Pioneer Woman recipe. I love the Pioneer Woman.
I know, yeah.
Any recipe I've tried of hers works, which is a bit of a miracle. And because I don't know. Her recipes are just workable. Mm-hmm. All right, so here's the recipe to make your own pumpkin spice. And this is our call to action from today's episode. That is to gather these things up and mix them up, and then you'll have your own little pumpkin spice that you can use.
Yeah.
So it's 3 tablespoons of ground cinnamon, 2 teaspoons of ground ginger, 2 teaspoons of nutmeg, 1.5 teaspoons of ground allspice, and 1.5 teaspoon of ground cloves. That's it. That's what's inside of your pumpkin spice.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So you just put it all in a bowl, mix it all up, put it in an airtight container, seal it. You could even put it in a baggie, Ziploc, whatever you call them.
Snack bag.
Yeah, and then you can use it in recipes. Now, I did learn this because she says on her blog, she says you can use that mixture then to make anything that calls for pumpkin spice. If you look at a recipe, and let's say it calls for a teaspoon of cinnamon, a teaspoon of nutmeg, and a teaspoon of some other kind of spice, all you do to figure out the amounts is you add up how many total teaspoons there are in the recipe, and you use that much of your premix. See what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's going to be wonderful.
Well, whatever it takes to make pumpkin taste better is good with me. Yeah. Because pumpkin... Really, you just bake it. It's like any other root you get from the ground. Yeah. But.
All right. Did we cover all that in the way that we wanted to? Mm-hmm. I think we did.
Yeah. That's a short episode.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. Because it doesn't take long to talk about pumpkin spice.
Well, right.
People are making $1 billion on it, but we can't figure out how to talk about it for 40 minutes.
Well, spend less time talking, more time drinking it.
That's right.
Or whatever you do with it.
All right, let me get the Bible verse that we wanted to share up because we love to share. We love to share a Bible verse, and we're thinking, well, what are we going to share with pumpkin spice? What kind of Bible verse can we come up with?
And there's lots of verses in the Old Testament with spices, but we found a real good nugget.
Yeah,
from
the New Testament. Yeah. So if you're familiar with the story, which I hope you are, it's from John chapter 19, verse 40. And it says this: So they took the body of Jesus and bound it in linen wrappings with the spices, as is the burial custom of the Jews. So that's the verse that we chose because when you think about Jesus and his human body, it was dressed as was the custom, and they put spices on him.
Yep.
And put him in the linen clothes, and then as we know the rest of the story is he rose
again.
He rose.
Mm-hmm.
He rose. So our hope is that we talked about this before we started recording, is that our hope is that all of us will become a little more addicted to Jesus and less addicted to the world and pumpkin spice and what other things occupy our time and
money,
our mind and our money. And so look to him, friends, because he's the spice of life, really.
Yeah.
All life and eternal life.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you've been listening to the Life Happens, Laugh Anyway podcast. I'm still comedian Tracy DeGraff.
I'm still Cathrine.
We'll see you next time.